Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unbound. Here is your boy Hakim. I remember growing up watching my friends, and they have those deep, meaningful conversations with their fathers. And I always wish I had that too. It's not that my father don't care, he just wasn't around much, and when he was around we never really talked about life. As I have gotten older, there are things I have had to figure out on my own. So looking back, I wish my father had taught me some key lessons. Here's what I wish I had learned from my father. All right, welcome to Unbound Verse. If you're watching Unbound Verse channel for the first time, support this channel. This is where we talk about everything, almost everything that is discussable in the entire world. So today I'm sharing with you my wishes that had been in my head while I was growing up. How I wish my father had taught me some key lessons in life. Okay, so let's dive in. One of the things I wish that my father taught me was emotional expression. Okay, growing up, I didn't know how to talk about my emotions. Anger, frustration, sadness, all these things all felt like things I had to bury deep inside because I wasn't shown how to deal with them. My father wasn't one to talk to about feelings. To him, emotions were a sign of weakness. And as a result, I grew up believing that showing how I felt would make me vulnerable. I internalized everything, leading to a lot of bottled up anger and unresolved hurt. Okay. When I was younger, I would often react to situations with either silence or explosive outbursts. I didn't know there was a middle ground. I now realize that having someone teach me how to communicate my emotions constructively would have saved me from pushing people away or lashing out when all I really needed was to be heard. Emotional expression is a form of release, a way of preventing the pressure from building up to dangerous levels. As I have grown older, I have learned that there is nothing weak about being vulnerable. In fact, vulnerability is a sign of strength. It takes courage to express what's going on inside you. If my father had taught me how to manage my emotions, I would have understood that feelings aren't meant to be hidden. They are meant to be understood and shared with the people who care about you. That was one thing that I wish my father had taught me when I was, when I was younger. Emotional expression. Okay. What's another thing that I wish my father had taught me when I was younger? Financial literacy is another thing. Some of you might think that financial literacy will be taught in school or thing like that. No. A father could teach their son or daughter or children about financial literacy. Okay? So financial literacy is one other thing I wish my father had taught me. Money was always a mysterious thing in our household. My dad worked hard to provide for us, but we never really talked about how money worked, how to budget, how to save, or how to invest. I grew up thinking that as long as you had a job, the rest would figure itself out. But when I got my first paycheck, I quickly realized how unprepared I was to manage my own finances. No one had taught me the basics of handling money, and as a result, I made plenty of mistakes early on. I probably still make some now, but I've gotten better. I spent recklessly at first, buying things I didn't need because I thought having money meant you could spend it on whatever you wanted. It wasn't until I found myself in debt that I realized I needed to get a handle on things. I started reading books and watching videos on financial management, slowly learning about saving, budgeting, and investing. But it was a tough journey, one that would have been easier if I had had some guidance from my father when I was younger. Looking back, I wish he had sat me down and explained the importance of financial literacy. If I had learned about compound interest, if I had learned about debt, and if I had learned about the value of saving early, I would have been in a much better position today. Money is a tool, and knowing how to use it wisely is one of the most valuable lessons a person can learn from their father. I just wish I had learned it sooner. All right, everybody watching, if you are just joined, you could, or you might be able to guess that I am talking about the lessons that I had wished my father taught me when I was younger. I'm grown now. Most of these things I had to figure it out on my own, but I want to share this to encourage everybody. Conflict resolution is another lesson. When conflict arose in my life, I didn't know how to handle them. Whether it was a disagreement with friends or family, my default reaction was either to avoid it entirely or to argue until I felt I had won. No one taught me that winning a fight doesn't always mean resolving the issue. I didn't know how to listen to the other person, how to compromise, or how to diffuse tension before it escalated. I didn't know all these things. I used to think that if I admitted I was wrong, it will make me weak. But that mindset led to damaged relationships and unnecessary stress. There were times when conflicts will rise up with friends, and it could have been easily resolved with a calm conversation, but my stubbornness and lack of communication skills made things worse. I wish my father had taught me the value of listening first and speaking later. The value of understanding the other person's perspective before jumping into conclusions. All these are powerful lessons that will mean a lot coming from your father. As I have matured now, I have learned that conflicts are a natural part of life. but they don't have to be destructive. There is an art to resolving disagreements in a way that leaves both parties feeling heard and respected. If my father had shown me that it's okay to be wrong and that compromise doesn't mean defeat, I would have avoided a lot of unnecessary fights and broken relationships in my entire life. You know, another thing that I wish my father had taught me is work life balance. All right. My father was a hardworking man, and I admired that about him. But I wish he had taught me that work isn't the only thing that defines a person. Growing up, I saw him put everything into his job, often at the expense of spending time with family or enjoying other aspects of life. As a result, I grew up with this idea that success meant working non-stop and sacrificing everything else. When I entered the workforce, I adopted the same mindset. I worked long hours, thinking that if I just pushed harder, I would achieve the success I wanted. But after a while, I started to burn out. I realized that I was neglecting other important parts of my life, my friends, my hobbies, even my health. I wish my father had shown me that life is about balance, that it's okay to take breaks and make time for the things that bring joy outside of work. I wish. Over time, I have learned to prioritize self care and time with loved ones, understanding that true success isn't just about professional achievements. It's about being happy, it's about being healthy and connected to the people you love. I wish my father had modeled that balance for me so I wouldn't have had to learn it the hard way. Another thing that I wish, my father had taught me when I was younger is how to build a healthy relationships. How to build a healthy relationship. I never really saw my father talk about relationships, whether with my mother, his friends, or even with me. Because of that, I went into my own relationships with little understanding of how to build and maintain relationships. I didn't know how to communicate properly or how to deal with problems when they arose. I thought that if things weren't perfect, it meant the relationship wasn't meant to be. When I look back on my early relationships, I see how much I struggled because I didn't have the tools to make them work. I was quick to shut down when things got hard, thinking that conflict meant something was wrong. I didn't understand that every relationship has its ups and downs and that it takes effort to keep it strong. It does. I wish my father had taught me that love isn't always easy, but it's worth working for. It's worth working for. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth working for. Now I have learned that healthy relationships are built on trust, respect, and open communication. Open communication. I've had to teach myself how to listen, how to apologize when I am wrong, and how to support the people I care about. But I can't help but think how much smoother my journey would have been if my father had shown me these things earlier on. Again, I'm not painting my father bad. I'm just saying things would have been way more better. Self-worth and confidence is another one. Self-worth and confidence. As a child, I always looked to others for validation. I wanted to be liked, to be accepted, and to fit in. But no matter how hard I tried, I never felt like I was enough. I wish my father had taught me that self-worth comes from within, not from external sources. He never really talked about confidence or how to believe in yourself, and because of that, I grew up doubting my abilities. Imagine that. Look at me, guys. I was doubting my own ability. For years, I compared myself to others. Big mistake. I always feel like I felt short. It wasn't until when later in life that I realized I didn't need anyone else's approval to feel good about myself. Nobody. Confidence is something you build by recognizing your own strength and embracing your imperfections. It's okay, nobody's perfect. I had to learn that through trial and errors, but I wish my father had given me a head start by teaching me to believe in myself early on. Believe in yourself. If you're young and you're watching this video, believe in yourself. Now I understand that self-worth isn't something that can give, it cannot be given to you. It's something you have to cultivate within yourself. If my father had helped me see that sooner, maybe I would have spent so much time, believing in myself, and not seeking validation from others. I would have known that it was enough the way I was, and that I can do everything if I put my heart to it. Another thing that I wish my father had taught me when I was young, guys, is this one is very, this one is really very big in my heart. It's one of the big ones. Dealing with failure. Dealing with failure. Failure terrified me when I was younger. I thought that failing meant I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't capable, and that I should just give up. I wish my father had taught me that failure is not the end. It's a part of the journey. Instead, I went through life fearing mistakes, avoiding risks, and feeling crushed whenever things didn't go as planned. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It took a while for me to understand that failure is one of life's greatest teachers. You have a lot of teachers in life. Every time you fall short, there is something to learn. Each failure brings you one step closer to success if you're willing to pick yourself back up and keep going. But when I was younger, I didn't know that. I saw failure as a reflection of my worth, and it held me back from trying new things or pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. I really did. And there was I remember, I'll tell you that story another time when I repeated SS1. Now I realize that failure is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. If my father had taught me that it's okay to fail, I might have taken more risk and learned more along the way. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you, shaping you into the person you are meant to be. Okay? Failure is not a bad thing. All right? Another thing I wish my father had taught me is physical and mental health. This one is also big too in my plate. Physical and mental health. Growing up, physical health wasn't something we talk about in our house. My father never encouraged me to exercise. He never encouraged me to eat right or take care of my mental well being. I wish he had taught me the importance of maintaining both my physical and mental health because without them, everything else in life becomes harder. It really does becomes harder. As I got older, I started to feel the effect of neglecting my body and mind. I was often tired, stressed, and overwhelmed. It wasn't until I took charge of my own health that I realized how much of an impact it had on my overall quality of life. Exercise, proper nutrition, and mental health practices like meditation have become essential parts of my routine. But I had to learn these lessons later than I would have liked. If my father had taught me to prioritize my health early on, I would have built habits that could have carried me through the tough times. I have learned that physical and mental health are the foundations upon which everything else is built. Without them, even success can feel empty. I now make a conscious effort to take care of myself, but I can't help thinking how much smoother my path would have been if my father had instilled those values in me from the start. If you're getting values from what I'm sharing here today, please support the channel, okay? Independence is another one. I was pretty dependent on my father growing up, relying on him to make a lot of decisions for me. I never learned how to trust my own judgment or how to take responsibility for my choices. It was crazy. When I was finally on my own, I found myself struggling to make even simplest decisions like this. They're this small. I wish my father had taught me to be dependent, to trust myself, and to stand on my own 2 feet. When you grow up relying on others to make decisions for you, it becomes easy to doubt your own ability to navigate through life even. I often second guess myself. I often got worried that I would make the wrong choice or that I wouldn't be able to handle the consequences. It wasn't until I was forced to be independent that I realized how important it is to trust your instincts and learn from your mistakes. Independence isn't just about doing things on your own. It's about having the confidence to make your own choices and live with a lot of things, and then you live with the results afterwards. Now I value my independence, but I had to learn it through trial and error. I wish my father had given me more opportunities to make my own decisions even when I was young, so that I could have built that confidence earlier. Independence is something that grows with practice, and if I had started practicing sooner, I would have been more prepared for the challenges life was gonna throw at me and is throwing at me right now. Another thing I wish my father, taught me is respect for others. Respect for others. As a young man, I didn't always understand the value of respect. I thought that respect was something you gave only to people who had earned it. And I didn't always recognize the importance of showing respect in every interaction. My father never really taught me that respect isn't just about authority. It's about treating everyone with dignity, no matter their status or position in life. Treat them with dignity. Okay? I had to learn the hard way that respect is a two-way street. Okay? If you don't show it, you won't receive it. There were times in my life when I lost opportunities or relationships because I didn't approach situations with the respect they deserved. I wish my father had sat me down and explained that respect is a fundamental part of building trust and maintaining healthy relationships, both personal and professional. Now I understand that respect isn't something you earn after proving yourself. It's something you give freely regardless of the situation. It's a sign of maturity and integrity. And I've made it a priority to treat others with the way I want to be treated. I just wish I had learned that lesson earlier in life. Respect is reciprocal, the way they say it in some country in Africa. Another big one, this is very also big, okay, is time management. Time management. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, but I didn't realize that until I was much older. My father never talked to me about how to manage my time wisely. I often found myself rushing to meet deadlines or wasting hours on things that didn't really matter. I wish he had taught me how to prioritize, how to plan, and how to make the most of each day. Time waits for no man, as some people may know. When you don't know how to manage your time, life can feel overwhelming. I used to procrastinate. Sometimes I still do. Thinking I had all the time in the world to get things done, only to end up stressed and rushed, when deadlines approached. Over the years, I've had to teach myself how to create schedules, set goals, and stay organized. But it wasn't an easy journey. Learning to manage time is one of the most important skills a person can develop. And I wish my father had helped me develop it sooner. Time waits for nobody. Now, I see time as a precious resource, something that once spent, you can't get it back. It's gone. I've learned to be more intentional with how I use my time, focusing on the things that truly matter, like making this video. But I can't help thinking how different my life would have been if I had learned these lessons earlier. Time management is the key to productivity and balance, and it's a skill I wish my father had passed down to me. Guys, if you're getting value from this video, please support this channel. Click the like button, share this video. Adaptability is another lesson. One thing life will always do is throw unexpected challenges your way when you're growing up. I wasn't prepared for that. I thought things would go according to plan if I just worked hard enough. But when life didn't go the way I expected, I felt lost. I wish my father had taught me how to adapt how to roll with the punches and adjust my plans, when things didn't go as expected. Some people say when life throws lime at you, make lemonade from it. When I was younger, change scared me. I was rigid in my thinking and resistant to anything that disrupted my routine. But as I have grown older now, I have realized that adaptability is one of the most important skills you can have. Life is constantly changing, and if you are not able to adjust, you will get left behind pretty quick. It took me a long time to learn that change isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Okay? Like we have more than one kind of sex nowadays, you know, male, female. Now we have binary. Some people still don't know what that is yet. But the earlier the better. Adaptability. Now I have learned to approach challenges with flexibility and an open mind. Instead of resisting change, I try to see it as an opportunity for growth. But I wish my father had taught me these lessons earlier. If I had learned to be adaptable sooner, I think I would have faced life challenges with more resilience and confidence. Another thing I wish my father had taught me, or I wish I had learned from him, by the way, he's passed away, okay, is critical thinking. Critical thinking. Growing up, I didn't question things much. I accepted what I was told and rarely challenged the status quo. My father never really encouraged me to think critically or to ask deeper questions about the world around me, you know. So as a result, I often made decisions based on assumptions or surface level information, not realizing the importance of digging deep and thinking things through. We have a brain for a reason. It's for us to use it to think critically. Don't just take things by the face value. As I got older, I began to understand that critical thinking is a skill you have to develop. It's about being curious, asking the right questions, and not taking things at face value. I started to see the importance of analyzing situations from different perspectives and gathering all the information before making decisions. They even have some resources these days where you can learn, they call it analytic technician or something like that. That can really help you to have like critical thinkings, you know. I wish my father had taught me to think for myself from a young age instead of just going along with what others said, doing everything for me. I wish I learned that in my early age. Now I try to approach every situation with a critical mind. I have learned to question, to seek out new information, and to make decisions based on careful thought. Okay, careful thought. It's a skill that has served me well in life, but I can't help wondering how much, further ahead I would be if I had developed that mindset earlier. Critical thinking is essential for navigating the complexities of life, and it's a lesson I wish my father had instilled in me at a very young age. Another lesson I wish my father had taught me is pursuing passion. Pursuing passion. For a long time, I didn't know what I was passionate about. I spent much of my life doing what I thought was expected of me, following a path that others had laid out. My father never really encouraged me to explore my interests or to pursue what truly made me happy. I wish he had taught me that passion is the fuel that drives you through life, and that following your passion is just as important as being responsible. I have since learned that life is too short to not pursue what you love. When you follow your passion, it doesn't feel like work. It energizes you. You are excited to go there. It keeps you motivated and gives you life purpose. I wish my father had encouraged me to find what lit me up inside instead of focusing solely on what was practical or expected. It took me years to figure out the passion in me, and passion is what makes life truly fulfilling. Now I make it a point to follow my passion, whether in my career or personal life. It hasn't always been easy, but it's been worth it. If my father had taught me to pursue what I love from an early age, I think I would have found my path sooner. Passion is the key to a meaningful life, and it's a lesson I wish I had learned much more earlier. And friends and folks and viewers and listeners, the last thing that I wish I had learned from my father at a younger age was communication skills. Communication skills. Communication was always a challenge for me. I never really learned how to express myself clearly or how to listen actively. My father wasn't much of a communicator either, and as a result, I struggled in my relationships, both in my personal relationship and in my professional relationship. I wish he had taught me the value of effective communication, because it's one of the most important skills a person can have. I mean, if you cannot communicate, you might as well just be a rock or I don't know. When you don't know how to communicate, misunderstandings happen easily, very, very easily. I have lost friendship, I have missed opportunities, and hurt people because I didn't know how to convey my thoughts and feelings properly. Over the years, I have had to teach myself how to listen better, because communication is not only talking, you listen to, how to speak with clarity, and how to navigate difficult conversations. But it's been a long and often painful learning process, Now I realize that communication is the foundation of all relationships. It is. Whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues, knowing how to communicate well can prevent so many problems before they even start. I just wish my father had taught me those skills when I was younger. I would have saved me, from a lot of heartaches and confusions and headaches and failures, along the way. And there you have it, friends and families. These are the lessons I wish my father had taught me. While I had to learn many of them on my own, I'm grateful for the journey. If any of my children is watching this video will make sure you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. Life is full of lessons, and sometimes the greatest gift you can give is the wisdom you have gained along the way. If your father or guardian that just wish that they're there or they just wish that they can teach somebody all these things early. If you have just seen this video, right, ensure your children don't have to figure it all out by themselves. Let this video teach you things that you can teach to your children. All those topics. Play this video again from the beginning and learn all these things. Alright folks, support this channel by sharing this video to at least 10 people that you know. Okay, see you in another video. You know how we do it. Thank you for watching Unbound Verse. Bye for now.